Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Day 2 of the Living Beauty Inc. Future Beauty Symposium. Please join me in welcoming back our host, beauty expert featured on The Marilyn Dennis Show, freelance writer and co-creator of the Breaking Beauty podcast, Jill Dunn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Day 2 of the Future of Beauty Symposium to launch Living Beauty Inc. My name is Jill Dunn, and it's my pleasure to be your host for Day 2 of this event. So for those of you that were not able to make yesterday, Day 1, we announced that the Principal Brands has undergone a complete rebrand and transformation, and they have emerged this week as Living Beauty Inc. So if you have any questions at all today, I know that we're going to have a lot of amazing speakers and information shared. Our communications team will be monitoring the chat function, so you can just populate your questions in there and they'll do their best to get back to you, whether it's about Living Beauty Inc. or any of our speakers today. All right, let's get started. Please join me in welcoming back to this virtual stage the founder of Living Beauty Inc., Mariam White. Hi, Mariam.
Hi, Jill. Thank you so much, and welcome everyone to Day 2.
Awesome. So we had such a great day yesterday. I mean, I learned so much. I was like taking notes, and this Living Beauty Inc. of family of brands that you've curated is really something to behold. And I really enjoyed exploring that sort of like intersection between health and beauty yesterday.
I learned a lot as well. I thought I knew everything about these brands, but I think what we also really got from it was how much health and self-care, how much they're impacting the beauty industry, and how we have to take a real holistic approach to the future. I mean, that's really the future of beauty. And on a personal level, I mean, I couldn't help but fall in love with Tim and Danny from Manta. They were so great, and I think the most messages about them, but everyone was really fabulous.
Yes.
So, yes, they were adorable. So today's focus, our future focus today, is going to be on ethical beauty, so corporate responsibility, definitely what happens when we get beyond the ideas of clean beauty, social beauty, the role of the professional post-pandemic, and we're going to speak to some new science and innovation. So who better to explore this with than the leading professional skincare brand, I believe, the leading one in the world, Biologique Recherche.
I completely agree. So I'm really excited to learn from the team at Biologique Recherche and to see what today has in store. And then a little later, we're going to catch up with you again, Mariam, as well as a retail expert who's going to sort of talk about the state of the beauty business after such a roller coaster year last year and her predictions for the future of the whole industry, really.
Yeah, and then we're going to close the day with some messages from beauty entrepreneurs, our partners, about how obviously going through the pandemic has helped them shape their plans for 2021 and what living beauty means to them.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, Mariam. We look forward to hearing from you again a little bit later on today. So to start us off today, we're going to learn some new facial massage techniques. This is my favorite part of any Biologique Recherche facial. And these are ones you can actually do on yourself at home to get this natural looking lift. So, I know a lot of us are still waiting for our spas and salons to reopen in our cities. So this is going to help get us through to that point. So if you want to follow along, we encourage you to do that, get your circulation going this morning, or just even enjoy sort of a mindful moment to start the day. So first up, we're going to welcome Tanya Miller. She's the international trainer for Biologique Recherche, and she's going to walk us through this exercise. Welcome, Tanya.
Hi everybody, my name is Tanya Miller. I'm an international trainer for Biologique Recherche. I've been working for the brand for now 5 years, and today we're going to look at how you can treat your skin at home, giving yourself some simple massages and simple techniques using a few of our products, the Wood Fundamental and a cleansing product to just lift, sculpt, rejuvenate those muscles. And so today what we're going to be looking at is more of a holistic approach of how you can give yourself a massage at home, incorporating your Biologique Recherche products, your Wheeler Fundamental, and small movements and techniques to help revitalize the skin, to lift, to sculpt, and to drain the lymphatic system. Easy steps that you can do at home. So first of all, we want to do is take your oil, pour a little bit of the Will Fundamental. Now, the Will Fundamental is mainly used for the body and the hair. So we're not going to be using it for the face at all. So what you can do start off with is to give yourself just a nice massage around the neck, around the shoulders, around the neck, pulling the neck muscles. If you're at home, you can work it just on the side. Because the oil hasn't been adapted for the face, and as I just said, it's been adapted for the body and the hair, what I want you to do is use one of your BR Lady Maquillants and go back over the area. So in this case, we're going to go back onto the shoulders and the neck with your Lady Maquillant, because we want to wash off that oil, otherwise your products won't penetrate because you're dealing with an oil. Okay, so your serums, that some of them are water-based, won't be able to penetrate through. So what you want to do is make sure that you massage the shoulders and the neck. And then we can start on the face. Make sure that you've got an even application of product. And the first movement that you can do is a smoothing movement just underneath the cheekbone. And that's really going to lift the muscles. Now, the muscles have a good memory. We need to wake them up basically. So giving yourself a massage every day, every morning, this type of lifting movement will really help to lift the contour, the oval of the face. Another thing you want to do is a sculpting movement just underneath the cheek area. So you're sculpting underneath the cheek, putting a little bit of pressure. And we're just going to be lifting and toning that cheek muscle. Once you get to the eye, and you've got two small evacuations in the corner of your eye, I want you to pump underneath, and just literally wash off. Okay, so it's a nice draining movement. This movement here is going to help to deflate any puffiness underneath the eye. And drain. So making sure that you're just really pushing, giving yourself 3 good pumps and draining off. For the forehead, to really relax the forehead and any tension you may find, you can get your hands and literally just smooth them up. Obviously, you can be working with 2 hands. I'm just working on one side of the face. With your thumb, pressing down, you have 2 veins. You need to press down and pull. Down and pull and stretch. You can come back down and really pull from the oval of the face to the top. Again, re-sculpt underneath the cheeks and release. So thank you for joining us today from Living Beauty Inc. These are some techniques that you can do at home using, like we said, the Will Benefit and your Lady Maquillant Biologic Research. It only takes you 5 minutes in the morning or in the evening as you like. Have a great day and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much to Tanya for all of those valuable tips and insights. It's like a moment of ASMR to get this day started. I feel very relaxed after watching that. So next up, I have the great pleasure of introducing you to our esteemed guest, co-chairman and co-owner of a renowned brand known for its efficacy and cult status products like P50 and Masque Vivant, the beloved and revered Biologique Recherche, a brand that knows the secret to success is evolving with the industry, finding solutions through science and innovation, and the importance of the beauty professional in everyone's skincare journey. It's my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Pierre-Louis Delapalme. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jill. Hello, good morning to everybody. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you virtually. So we're thrilled to be speaking with you today about Biologique Recherche. It's just so iconic. I mean, every skincare lover wants to know all there is to know about Biologique Recherche. So today, could you start off by speaking to us about the soul of Biologique Recherche and its business evolution?
If we can summarize the brand, the team, the history in one word, I would say authenticity. Because the brand was created by a couple, Yvon and Josette Alouche, and they had that passion from the beginning for creating a unique skincare methodology, personalization, teaching, transferring their know-how. When you look at the products, they have no perfume. Sometimes they have strange texture. They are very authentic, and the way we try to build our relationship with our partners is also as much as possible based on authenticity. So authenticity is the word.
That makes sense to me. So we're going to talk a little bit about ethical beauty. So your brand DNA, really it is rooted in science and innovation and improving on existing products by ensuring sustainability and efficacy. So tell us about your vision on that front.
Well, the brand philosophy on research and innovation has always been everything to start with the skin. So it's all about a better understanding of the skin. And from there, we try to create new products, new innovations. At the same time, we really try to be very open. It's not like a process, innovation. You can have ideas anywhere, anytime. So we are quite open about where it can come from, how it can happen. If you think about vernix, for instance, it's just reading a medical article on that layer that's we should keep on the baby once the baby is born. And then we try to understand why we should keep that, what is the composition, try to copy the composition, and again, test it on the skin. So the creative process is in our companies is actually very open, but always starting with the skin.
Amazing. So you're creating a more ethical company every day. And as the consumer becomes more demanding around accountability and transparency, how are you meeting those demands? Like, what is the plan for the future?
For me, the biggest challenge is to try to communicate in a transparent but also understandable way the composition of products. Because, our consumers, they are not chemists, but they read a lot about good and bad ingredients. And we know as researchers and formulators that it's much more complicated than that. And in a way, what is making the poison is the dose. So the real challenge for us is to be transparent, of course. We have always been transparent, but also to try to explain why our formulation are formulated this way, why we have chosen those ingredients. And we personally feel that the challenge of promoting very simple formulation is maybe not the only solution. And we believe in complex formulations because we know the skin is complex and we know the skin needs a lot of targeted answers to very specific problems. So to summarize, transparency, yes, but also trying to educate, to teach them on a very complicated topic, which is all the ingredients.
Yes, and I think that's such an interesting point that you're really, the trend right now in the whole, I think, beauty business is about these hero ingredients and like blowing up these, skincare superstars. But that's really not what biologic research is all about. They're rather about solving a problem and fulfilling a need. So tell us about the skin physiology and the science and finding ingredients that make the skin instant healthier and how you see the future of ethical beauty in the beauty industry at large.
Yeah, we call that trend, the magic bullet trend. It's like every
Yes.
2 or 3 years, there are new ingredients which are very fashionable, and then you move to the next one. The way, as I told you, we approach innovation and new products is really starting with the skin. As Dr. Alush, who is the son of the founder and leading our research, is saying, the skin is like a house. So you have to take care of the roof, which is the epidermis, what you can see, before you invest inside the house. So there is a methodology on how to build better skin, taking care of the roof and then investing inside the house, go a little deeper. But if it was only that, it would be simple. Because the skin is also a connected house. Okay, it's a house that is connected to your inside, to your metabolism, to what you eat, to what you have in your brain, your emotions, your stress, and also to the outside, because of course your skin is being impacted by all the aggressions, pollution, weather, etc., that you can have in your daily life. So it's a house, it's a connected house, and it's a house that is renewing itself every 26 days. So you can imagine the complexity of the house we have to manage. So our way of getting results is really to understand that complexity and to be good housekeepers for that skin.
I love that analogy. That makes so much sense. You really have to have so many things working together to get your best skin instant possible. So we're going to talk about social beauty for a few minutes. So biologique recherche really is all about the power of touch and consultation. So tell us why the social aspect of beauty is integral to the industry's success and how the brand was able to maintain this connection and high standard during a global pandemic.
Well, in short, we are very lucky because what is unique about professional beauty is that half, of course, is the products, the techniques, but half is it's a people business. Okay, half of our success is our network of passionate beauticians, estheticians, partner, doctors. So that's why, by essence, we are a social brand. Okay, it's not like a fashion. It's in our DNA to be as much rooted in the human relationship. And again, even for the esthetician, what they do on a daily basis is human connection, human interaction. And as you are saying, they are really touching the skin of their customers. So by essence, we are connected physically. So of course, the COVID was a bit of a frustration for our own business because that connection was not possible and for a long time in many countries. But what was amazing is that we kept the link. We kept the link to the end customers through our amazing passionate networks. That was our luck, to be honest, because we kept the communication. We took care of the skin at distance with visual consultation, visual coaching. And when we could, of course, we tried as much as we could to supply the needed products to our customers because their skin were not stopping to develop, to have problems, etc. So we went through COVID in a way quite well, and we are even growing. But I would say our chance or the reason was the strength, the passion, and the connection with our network and the network with our end customers.
And I think one silver lining in all of this is that we've all realized the power of connection and how important it is to our overall health and well-being is just being in touch with other humans. And I personally can't wait to go for my first facial. So I think it's really it's shone a spotlight on how important these relationships are. And so with that being said, what do you think is the future of the beauty professional?
Well, you just said it.
Yeah.
I'm extremely optimistic. I think it's only the start, because the more we live in big cities under stress, I'm not even talking about COVID, but the more we need to reconnect, to have connection, to have coaching, to have advice, the more the world will become virtual, the more we will need real, contact, relationship, etc. The other dimension, and probably COVID has accelerated that, is prevention. Okay, the need for preventing and not wait until the problem arrives, I think, is now in every people's mind. 60% of the diseases are actually preventable diseases. So prevention is the big word, and of course, professional beauty has a great role to play, to coach, to teach, and to help our customers to understand their skin better for a better prevention. So I'm very optimistic. Now, post-COVID, what is for sure is that digital will play a new role, and we have also to take that into account. So we have to find the kind of new blended way, but not forgetting that the essence of what we do is the physical connection and the physical treatments with people.
I love that. Well, thank you so much to Mr. Delapalme. I think that is our time for today. I really appreciate all of your insights and spending time with us today. It's really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So next up, I'd like to introduce Laure Boucherin. Laure is a research and development manager with Biologic Recherche, who is going to walk us through some of the new science and innovation from the brand. Hi, Laure.
Hi, thank you very much, Jill. Hello, everybody.
Hi. Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Sorry.
Hi, hello. Hello, everybody. Again, it's me again. Before Laura starts, I just want to make a very short introduction on a topic that is actually absolutely fascinating. And to be honest, this scientific platform has also helped to develop the first vaccine, anti-COVID vaccine. The first slide I want to show is a slide which is very interesting because with that you should understand what we are talking about. Now think about a computer. Okay, a computer, you have a hard disk, and in the hard disk you have all the information that you need, and this is what the DNA is about. It's like a hard disk where you can get all the info. But when you only have a hard disk, you cannot read any information. So to read the information, you need a software, like a Microsoft software. And this is what RNA is about. RNA is just a copy of DNA that will allow to have access to that information and transform that information into mostly proteins, to keep it simple. But even if you have a hard disk and a software, if you don't have a screen, you will not see any of that information. So the third step is through the RNA, it will allow to copy the information and to transfer the information to something that you can see, which is visible, which we call phenotype. So with that simple analogy, you will understand everything we will talk about now. From the DNA that everybody knows to the expression of the genes that needs to use the software, which is the RNA, and to the expression of that on your face, especially for skin, which is what we call the phenotypes. So that's what I wanted to do as an introduction, and then we will now present a huge innovation talking about DNA. That we are just launching now with a little film.
Did you know that scientists are able to explain 60% of your skin's condition through the analysis of genetic predispositions? A better understanding of your skin's inherited needs, which are not currently visible, will enable you to adapt your choice of skincare products and optimally preserve your skin instant. Biologique Recherche, a pioneer in skin diagnosis, is introducing My Beauty DNA, a new skin analysis tool that complements existing ones. It allows us to go further into the skin instant analysis. It's simple. All you have to do is place your order with the nearest Biologique Recherche center allowed to carry out DNA tests to receive your My Beauty DNA sample kit. Once you have received your kit, use the swabs on the inside of your cheek to take a sample of your saliva. Then you place the swabs in the vials provided. Your beautician will then send your samples to the analysis center. Your dermatological data will be analyzed and we will generate your personalized report within 5 to 6 weeks. Using DNA sequencers and computer algorithms, we analyze more than 600,000 genetic variations within your genome to determine your genetic skin predispositions. A total of 14 skin characteristics are studied and grouped into 4 major families: skin and aging, skin and the environment, skin and the sun, and skin profile. Your level of predisposition, which may be low, slightly elevated, or elevated depending on your genome, is determined for each of these traits. To create your report, log in to our www.mybeautydna.com site using your personal login and password. We then recommend that you visit the Biologique Recherche Center where you carried out your My Beauty DNA test to complete the analysis with a visual diagnosis, which will record the effects of your lifestyle, your environment, and your habits in terms of treatments and care products. Discover your skin instant origins with My Beauty DNA.
Okay, what is absolutely fascinating with DNA and the skin is that when we started working on DNA, like almost 10 years ago, actually only 40% of your skin could be explained by your DNA. And the more research and science advance, the more we understand how DNA is important. And all research is saying now that 60%, so the majority of what your skin not only is today, but will be tomorrow, is now explained by DNA. And this is why we are so interested and in a way obsessed with that new research on DNA. The way it works is very simple, as you've seen in the film. That little box where you have everything, you will go in a spa, in a selected spa, and then you will do the test with your therapist, and then the test will be sent for analysis. That's step 1. And of course, step 2 is a couple of weeks later when you will receive the report, and Laure will tell you a little bit more about what is in that report following the decoding of your DNA.
Exactly. Thanks to the analysis of your gene, we are able to give you information about 14 different criteria that we classify in 4 major families, such as the collagen breakdown, the glycation, the photoaging, the rosacea, or the cellulite. I'm sorry, I can't see the presentation anymore, but next slide, please. On the next slide, you will see all criteria, and all these criteria depend on traits, phenotypic traits that are observable and measurable characteristics, like the color of hair or the eye, and other traits that are not immediately observable. For example, the decrease of collagen is not visible, but with the time, it induces a visible one, the loss of firmness. So all these traits represent likelihood or risks for specific characteristics to become expressed in the future as a result of genetics or external environment. So let's talk especially about genetics. So everybody have on this DNA the genes that were studied. Some are positive and others are risky. A positive gene stands for characteristics that may positively affect your appearance, skin, wellness, and health. So for example, genes that protect from cellulite are good genes. A risky gene stands for a characteristic that may negatively affect our appearance, skin, wellness, or health. So, for example, genes that code for metalloproteinase are risky genes because they are involved in the collagen breakdown. And on each gene, there are some variation called the SNPs. And on a positive gene, a normal SNP makes the gene work normally, and a protective SNP makes the gene work better. Let's take an example. The cellulite protection gene is a positive gene. So people with some protective SNPs appear to have smaller amount of cellulite than others with similar weight, diet, and exercises. That means that with normal SNP, normal cellulite, and protective SNP, less cellulite. And on a risky gene, a normal SNP makes the gene work normally, and a deleterious SNP makes the gene work badly. So let's take an example again. The collagen breakdown gene is a risky gene. So people with some deleterious SNPs may have an increase of the activity of enzymes that break down collagen, and people are under higher risk of a earlier loss of firmness. So now you have all the technical information. So I hope you are ready to try the DNA experience.
What is great is that up until now we had the visible part of the iceberg. Okay, you know, the Skin Instant Lab, we measure the skin. We have the Visio Lab where we take high definition pictures, and of course the professional, the beautician, is extremely vital to have a full diagnosis. But that's what you can see today. Now with the My Beauty DNA, we have access to the invisible part of the iceberg. And now we have the full picture. The visible and the invisible, both are important, but that big part, those 60% were missing, the missing link, and now we have the full picture. Which leads me to the next topic, of course, because working on that platform, understanding the DNA is important, but it's also giving us new innovation. And Laure, we'll talk a little bit about Le Grand Serum, which is again based on DNA research.
Exactly. So I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the presentation, but on the first slide of the Grand Serum, you can see something about the telomeres. So just in introduction, thanks to our research on DNA, we launched La Grande Crème 3 years ago, and its amazing active ingredient called epigenactive, which acts on epigenetics. So to continue our major advanced innovation and to put Le Grand Serum to equity with La Grande Crème, we have decided to enrich its formula. So last year, we went further with Le Grand Serum, which acts on telomere. So now let's talk about the telomeres. The telomeres are one of the major medical discovery of the 20th century, having even won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for Elizabeth Blackburn in I think 10 years ago. And the telomeres are found at the end of the chromosomes. They are short sequences of DNA that are intended to protect the chromosome. It is a part with not important information, but just here to protect. Because, you know, throughout life, cells multiply to renew damaged tissue. But during each cell division, a very small part of the genetic information is lost at the extremity of chromosome. So the telomeres shorten little by little instead of the coding part. And the important information is on this coding part. So when telomeres are too short, the cell will die. So as you understood, the shortening of telomere is an inevitable phenomenon during the aging of cells. However, It can be accelerated by external factors such as smoking, UV radiation, lack of sleeps, and it can be therefore deduced that telomeres are linked with life expectancy, but also perceived age of the individual. So on the next slide, this is a concept of Le Grand Serum. So Le Grand Serum is formulated around a specific ingredient called telomere active, which improve stability and longevity of telomeres. So the formula protects and activates longevity factors in the cells. This is an absolute elixir. It will act on all aging issues as wrinkles, firmness, regeneration, or cell protection. And of course, because it's a finishing serum, it's the last step of our methodology, so we also protect and improve the radiance of the skin. So on the next slide, you see the active ingredients of Le Grand Serum. So I will not present you all of these active ingredients because Le Grand Serum is our more concentrating product with 27 different active ingredients and all fight against skin aging signs. So I will just focus on telomere active and another example, but I will focus on telomere active because it's our main and new active ingredient. These active ingredients have a specific action on the protection of the telomeres and the activation of the longevity factors in the skin. So its action at the heart of the cell will help to reduce the aging markers responsible for the increase in the perceived age. So in all other platforms, active ingredients are essential and complementary. I will just take an example. I will describe the anti-wrinkle pole to explain you our strategies. So in the anti-wrinkle platform, on one hand, we have a hyaluronic acid with a low molecular weight that activates the neosynthesis of hyaluronic acid and collagen in the dermis. It improves the density of the dermis and so have a long-term anti-wrinkle effect. On the other hand, we have watercress extract, which is a natural anti-wrinkle ingredient that acts like Botox. It promotes the relaxation of the skin and neutralizes contraction responsible of wrinkles. So thanks to this ingredient, we have an immediate effect on wrinkles. So in this product, we have one active that acts immediately on wrinkles and one other that works deeply but need more time to be performant. So on the next slide, you see examples of the performance tests we have on the product to prove the efficiency. So one of them is very important. It's an efficiency test proving that we are able to work on the telomeres. So if you look at the graphic on the left, you see an analysis that provides that when the cells are under stress, so in this case, this is UV stress, the length of telomere is decreasing. So on the graph, you can see a decrease of 14.8% because of UV. But in presence of telomere active, the telomeres stay long. So telomere active protects the telomeres. On the next slide, you have an example of an in-use test we have done on this product. So we carried out a clinical test on 20 women presenting wrinkles and who applied the product twice a day during 8 weeks. So Le Grand Serum decreased the wrinkles dips by 7.9%, and the volunteers find their skin regenerated, toned, firmer, and smoother. So I will let Mr. de la Palme finish this presentation and speak about DNA again.
No, I just want to share with you. I mean, to be honest, there are not a lot of revolution in beauty and in cosmetic, but the DNA platform is the real next new revolution. It's true also for medical. Okay, all the new medicine linked to DNA research is the new revolution. The Moderna vaccine is completely derived from that new science. But on beauty, it will have a huge impact as well. And hence our own research on My Beauty DNA to understand to understand the profile of your DNA. Hence La Grande Crème, which was the first product working on epigenetics, which is the expression of genes, okay, the software we talked about. And now Le Grand Sérum, which is again working on the DNA understanding with a specific action on the telomeres. So I just wanted to share with you how important that new research on DNA and the link with the skin. And it's only the start, and in the pipeline, you have a lot of innovation in that area. So you will continue to hear about it and to have new products and innovation.
Thank you, Mr. de la Palme. So now we will totally change of subject and speak about how to treat bags under the eyes. So it's next slide. Next slide again, please. So there are different types of bags under the eyes: wake-up, aqueous, fatty, and skin aging bags. So first, for wake-up bags, swelling can appear. During the night, the lymph can accumulate in the lower eyelids. This swelling can disappear in the morning or persist for people who have blood circulation problems. So with age, tiredness, stress, the lymphatic system is damaged and weakened, and there is a poor lymphatic circulation. And so the lymph tends to stagnate, leading to an accumulation of water in the lower eyelids. The retention bags or aqueous bags are created. These two types of bags under the eyes are easy to treat. A few hours are generally enough to reduce their volumes. However, fatty eyes bags and skin aging bags require several days of treatment. They take longer to treat. Indeed, fat can accumulate and progress in the lower eyelids. So with gravitational force, the skin and fat are pulled down, and so puffiness can appear. So moreover, with age, tissues around the eyes and muscles supporting the eyelid deteriorate. Therefore, there is a distension and sagging of the eyelids. So on this slide, you see the concept of our product. As I just said, the bags are difficult to grasp because they have different origin, and it's necessary to treat them in an independent and complementary way. So Liposmos, our product, will really offer a complete answer against puffiness by acting on the various mechanisms at the origin of this imbalance. So it will combine three actions: an osmoregulatory action against aqueous bags, a lipolytic action against fatty bags, and a firming action against bags due to sagging skin. So it will promote decongestion around the eyes to reduce the volume and depth of the bags. So by putting sparkle bags in the eyes, it will appear less marked, with straightening the eye contour area to prevent the skin aging. So on this slide, you can see the active ingredient inside the product. So first of all, we decided to put a red seaweed extract, which allows a short-term treatment of the bags under the eyes. So this active ingredient naturally synthesizes an osmoregulating agent, which is involved in the regulation of dissolved salt concentration and water flows. It will therefore promote water flow in the retention zone and reduce the volume of the bags under the eyes. Then we also added lipolytic tetrapeptide. It is an anti-edematous properties And it is tested also on the reduction of grease under the eye bags. So puffiness can form because of a result of lipid accumulation, mainly associated with an aging process and due to gravity force that tends to pull the fatty tissues of the face. So by reducing fat accumulation, this active ingredient reduces the volume of fat under the eye bag. And finally, as you know, with age, the tissue around the eyes deteriorates, leading to slicening and sagging of the dermis. So to address that, we have selected a complex of matricin in this third firming pole to redensify the dermis. So to sum up for this product, our new serum has a global action on all the different types of bags. So now I will introduce to you a new subject. We will speak about pigmentation with our new product, Microfill Pig 400. So it's a technological and scientific innovation, and I maintain a little suspense and let you discover this innovation treatment in a short video.
In 2020, more than 90% of people over 70 years old with a fair phototype have pigmentation marks, also known as dark spots or age spots. They are one of the major skin issues of the 21st century and can affect all phototypes. Pigmentation marks of varying sizes are increasingly common from the age of 40. They generally appear in areas exposed to the sun, such as the face, hands, shoulders, or arms. Skin hyperpigmentation results from two different factors: the overproduction of melanin and the accumulation of lipofuscin on the surface of the epidermis. 1. Melanogenesis is the process by which the melanocytes activates the tyrosinase, an enzyme that catalyzes chemical reactions leading to the production of melanin. An overproduction of melanin can be driven by environmental disturbances and hormonal imbalance. Among others, this phenomenon is accentuated by advanced glycation end products, or AGE, which interact with receptors on the membrane of melanocytes. The melanin synthesized is then transferred to surrounding keratinocytes through dendrites, thereby coloring the keratinocytes. Produced in their basal layer, these keratinocytes subsequently migrate to the outermost layer of the skin. 2. Lipofuscin is a brown pigment derived from oxidized lipids and proteins. This cellular debris caused by free radicals is naturally recycled by the body. With age or because of prolonged exposure to oxidative stress, this process is altered and the mark appears. Inspired by the microneedling technology used in aesthetic medicine, Biologique Recherche presents Microfill Pig 400. Covered with microcones, these patches are composed of 100% of hyaluronic acid and solidified active ingredients. Upon application, the microcones penetrate the epidermis where they dissolve completely. As a result, they release active ingredients as close as possible to the melanocytes for an ultra-targeted and in-depth treatment of the pigmentation mark. Multi-actions Microfill Pig 400 reduces the AGE content in the cell medium, the melanin concentration in the various skin layers, and the oxidation of the proteins responsible for the synthesis of lipofuscin for a strengthened lightening action. Microfill Pig 400 is a technological innovation that visibly reduces the size and intensity of pigmentation marks. Worldwide launch early 2021.
So melanogenesis is at the heart of our research because pigmented spots are one of the main factors of skin aging. So in 2016, a scientific article was published showing the link between glycation and pigmentation. So we did complementary research to understand this link. And scientists have brought to light that advanced glycation products are able to promote melanogenesis. They are able to plug themselves into receptors on the melanocyte and start a series of reactions that stimulate tyrosinase activity. So we decided to use this way of action to improve the performance of the product. So as you see in the video, the technology of the product, inspired by microneedling used in aesthetic medicine, also improves the efficiency. It is a patch with microcone of solidified hyaluronic acids, and our active ingredients are trapped in this matrix of hyaluronic acid. And during the application of the patch, the microcones penetrate the epidermis close to the melanocyte, and they completely dissolve, releasing the active ingredient directly into the skin. So on this slide, you see the mechanism of action. So to be performant on the melanogenesis, we need to act on the stimulation on the melanocytes, on the tyrosinase because it is the enzyme involved in the melanin synthesis. We have to work also on the maturation of this melanin and on the exportation of the melanin into the epidermis. And last thing, very important, we also need to act against the lipofuscin, another pigment that is involved in the pigmented spots. So thanks to our product, we act on all the key steps of melanogenesis to decrease the creation of dark spots. So this is our product, and by diffusing its cocktail of anti-glycation, anti-melanogenesis, and antioxidating active ingredients as close as possible to the melanocyte, it acts on each key step of the formation of pigment marks. So it treats it in deep to visibly reduce the size and the intensity of dark spots present on the skin surface. So it's a very innovative product with an efficiency with few applications thanks to this technology. So I hope you will enjoy to test it. So that's all for the presentation about the products. It was a pleasure to share it with you, and I will turn back to Jill for the next session.
Thank you so much, Laura. Like, I'm sitting over here, my mind is blown. Like, each one of those innovations is just so incredibly groundbreaking. I mean, the My Beauty DNA is truly a first of its kind, and I'm so excited to see what the future holds when it comes to DNA and figuring out what's best for our skin and how we can look and feel our best. And then that eye product, like, I am all in on that one. I cannot wait to try it. So thank you so much to Mr. Delapalme and to Laura for joining us today. So recently, Mariam sat down with a retail consultant, BNN contributor and president of the HRC Retail Advisory in North America, Farla Efroz. She's a prominent thought leader and sought-after expert on consumer shopping behaviors and retail trends. They discuss the state of the beauty industry as it relates to retail sales, and I'd like to share that chat with you now.
I'd like to welcome Farla Efroz. She's the president of HRC Retail Advisory. Hi, Farla.
Hi, how are you, Mariam?
Thank you
for
having
Thank
me
you for
this
afternoon.
Of course. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. As Mariam mentioned, my name is Farla Efroz, and I'm the president of HRC Retail Advisory. I have been consulting retailers across the globe for about 20 plus years, specifically focused on retail turnaround. So I go into organizations and optimize how they currently look at their resourcing and how we can optimize their inventory and their profitability.
So you are definitely my retail guru. I love listening to you and hearing about all the large retailers that you're working with. It's absolutely fascinating. And, obviously the pandemic has hit retailers really hard. Who would you say are the relative winners and losers so far?
So I would say if you're looking across the globe, obviously anything in the area of home improvement has seen a complete growth engine, because obviously we're now staying more at home. So there's an opportunity to work in our homes and develop. The area of beauty has really taken an unbelievably growth pivot, because again, with all of these stay-at-home orders that we see in place, women are experiencing and trying things. And so you've definitely seen a real growth in terms of that whole professional area, kind of bringing it back home. And the other areas that you're seeing obviously are in the areas of grocery for very, very much the same reasons that we've chatted about.
So as vaccines are now rolling out, slower than we'd like them to be, what does the post-pandemic future look like for retailing?
I think it's going to be a very slow build. I think there's still a lot of concerns that we see going on within the, even as you're seeing it kind of flow out through the US. And I do think that we're going to be, in Canada, we tend to be slower to adopt. So I think we're still going to take our time as we move back into retail. And I do think that our whole environment has changed. It's not like this was something that took place that was, 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We've now been like this for almost 12 months, if not 12 months. So I think our appetite has changed. I think our environment has changed. So I do think that, come 2021 and even into parts of 2022, I think we're still going to be in a very similar state that we are today.
And with this extended period of time, what consumer behaviors do you think will stick with us now as we move forward?
I think the notion of now, if you think about, the whole online piece, which was really fascinating because it was very much stemmed at, the Gen Zs moving into the millennials, and some of the Gen Xers, but now you're seeing everyone from that early on stage from 12 all the way up to 70 or 80 are now more comfortable purchasing online and having things brought to their house. I think we're also much more comfortable with the, in-store pickup or even curbside pickup. So I think that our whole dynamic of the reason we used to go to the mall has changed. So I don't see that changing, pivoting back that quickly for the foreseeable future.
So just speaking, about online sales, I know one of the things that you've written about, you have a lot of studies on your website, and you've spoken about how retailers need to find a balance between, having obviously walk-in traffic post-pandemic, and then also being able to service online orders. So how does, let's say, a small retailer, how do they manage that? What are some strategies that they can use?
So I think the strategies that the smaller retailers use, actually, they have that flexibility, a greater flexibility than some of the larger retailers, because they also know who their consumer group is. So they have this ability to reach out to them either individually and really kind of customize that service experience, especially as we start to open up, and move from different zones. And as we get more vaccinated, I think that it's really going to be, the service is really going to be customized. And I think the consumer is going to be the driver of the service that they're looking for. And I think the smaller retailers just have that flexibility. Think how amazingly they've done today of how they've been able to pivot from, having modest traffic to now pretty much everything is around curbside pickup or appointment driven and the like.
So I know you talk a lot about the resurgence of the smaller format store. So why do you think this way? Why do you feel that the smaller store is going to have a resurgence?
2 reasons: comfort. So as we start to feel much more comfortable being out in the public, so we've been really behind closed doors for a very long time, I think you're going to be more comfortable because it can be appointment driven, or you could be picking it up at the door, or you can go in after hours. So I think that flexibility. And I think the other thing, frankly, is that the small retailers, a lot of them that have been closed for such a long period of time, I think that we are so desperate as, especially Canadians right now, we want to desperate to support that environment as they start to reopen.
Now, finally, I want to drill down to why we're here, which is beauty and beauty retailing. Do you have any specific insights, I guess, for this subsegment of retailers and the professional side of beauty?
I think it's been really fascinating. So that's another example of how that whole industry, which was so focused on consumers coming in and getting the services in that environment, and how they've been able to truly make us, and I say that us because me included, how they've allowed consumers to actually bring that service to their home and allow us to teach us how to do it, provide us the coaching, whether it be, through FaceTime or Zoom like we're doing right now, provide us the coaching, giving us, tools and tricks along with it, and also allowing us to experiment a little bit. So I think that industry has done an incredible job. And I think from a consumer standpoint, because we're home, we're more focused on our hair, we're more focused on our face, we have more time to spend investing in all those different areas. So I think that those retailers particularly have really risen above this pandemic and really kind of changed that dynamic that existed before, which was the notion of having to have an appointment to go into a store.
So I guess consultation, what it's shown is that consultation, all that expertise can be shifted online. That there really, it can be a seamless process and experience for the consumer.
Well, it's shifted online, you get consulted, and as you're even applying it, you could even be doing it with them on the phone too. So that's even better. Think about normally you'd go into the salon, you'd get your consult, you'd walk out with a bunch of products and you'd go home. Now you are getting your consult on the phone, the products are coming to your door, and as you're applying them, and if you have any uncertainty, you can reach back out to that for additional consultative selling. So I think that you're actually building a much stronger relationship with that person. It's not just a transaction, it's more of a relationship that you're building with that person on the phone.
So I guess my final question really has to do with, the professional. If you were to give them one piece of advice or, any piece of advice in terms of adding to their retail assortment, what type of advice could you make? Because I know there is a lot of temptation to kind of just pack stores with and salons, especially with product. Yeah. What would you say to that type of owner?
I think it's about flexibility. So being flexible, understanding your customer needs and really adopting to that. And I think it's that newness too. I think that it's consumers are now much more willing to try new products. And I think that newness is really important, and to keep on adding that component into it as the marketplace continues to grow.
Great. Thank you so much, Farla. Always have amazing insight, and look forward to hopefully speaking to you again about this in better times. Thanks. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Farla and to Mariam. Some great insights were shared for sure. So before we wrap day 2, we want to hear from the backbone of the beauty industry in Canada, the incredible entrepreneurs that have been just so incredibly resilient this past year. And we want to hear from them to hear how they've been faring during this challenging time, what they've learned, and what they feel the future holds. Because when we think of beauty, we often think of products and services, but truly it is the people performing those services and recommending these products that keep the industry thriving. So I'd like to share their thoughts on the past year, how it informed their future business, and what living beauty means to them.
2020, wow, who would have thought that people who are so used to using hands and the human connection, that was going to be taken away from us. So we had to think on our feet, we had to pivot and keep that human connection open somehow. So a lot of that was through social media, it was through emails, it was through texting, keeping that human connection going with your clients and letting them know that even though we can't be there in person, that we are still here for each other always.
2020 has taught myself and my business Muse that community is everything, that they really do care for you and want to show you support. And how I showed support back was always by showing tutorials, how-tos, and really giving them that at-home facial experience that they were all missing. It was so important to pivot our business to a completely different world that we're not used to. And no matter what, through all these changes, our community was always there for us.
So this year has forced us to become more active with our communications. So we chose to become a bit more active in our social media platform and other forms of communications. Now, this is not our expertise, so we are sometimes a bit awkward and amateur at it, but we try our best. However, the message is always authentic, and it's always like purposeful, educational driven. So and we will try to maintain that in the years to come.
I know everyone is so sick of hearing the word pivot, but you really did have to learn how to be adaptable. If we did not have an incredible partner and incredible skincare lines to support us during this time with a strong e-commerce business, we would have been in a lot of trouble. So we did pivot. We've pushed our social media, our e-commerce, and working closely with Living Beauty has just been a lifesaver for us so we can come out of this pandemic with success.
Really, there's nothing more beautiful than a person who exudes self-confidence and self-love. Self-love is very, very important. And with that, I think there's this exterior glow, this warmth and this appreciation and this gratitude that absolutely radiates from that person. So starts out with self-love, and you can spread that around. And to me, that's living a beauty.
That we have to take care of ourselves and feel better and good about ourselves. And we think that's what Living Beauty is.
Exactly.
We've loved our partnership. You've provided us with great support, both physically in the office, in training, phone calls, and even behind the scenes with shipping issues or product issues. And that's what's made it such an amazing partnership for all of us. We know that you're able to support us, and we hope in turn that you know we're here for you as well. Congratulations.
Thank you so much to all of our partners who submitted those amazing messages, to Amy Brown, Carmen Lemaire, Krista Lytle, Tina Cable, Carol Mumjiev, David Palmieri, and of course, Susie Russo. Thank you.
So Mariam, tell us about your retail and professional partners. I'm sure it's been a really challenging year to say the least, but I assume it probably brought you closer together.
Yeah, I had to take a deep breath before answering this question, because I have to say, we went through this roller coaster of a COVID ride. We're still kind of on it. It's the one that never ends, and it really felt like no one stopped working. We're really happy to say that not one of our professional partners or retailers closed or stopped during the pandemic. Super resilient. Yeah, honestly, you guys are amazing. And they weren't able to physically touch their clients, but they used all that amazing skill, all their knowledge to connect, whether it was through digital or through consultations, color kits. I mean, we saw everything, and everyone was so creative, and just really, I guess, like a hats off to them. This is my tribe. I started as a makeup artist, working in a small beauty boutique. So I absolutely get just the feeling of keeping that business alive. So thank you so much. And it was one of the most beautiful feelings to see. It was absolutely across the country. So Newfoundland to Vancouver Island, everyone really did their best.
That is so amazing. It's really incredible to see the creativity and passion and drive so many small businesses out there have, and they've just dug in and made it happen. And I just think that's so inspiring. And I just, my hat's off to them as well. So I really had a great time hosting for the past 2 days. I've learned so much, and I've just been so inspired by all of these amazing, creative, hardworking people that we've chatted with, and truthfully, I'm really pumped to try a lot of these products that are coming to market as well. So thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you, Jill. It's really been a pleasure to have you. All your knowledge about the beauty industry, it's absolutely endless. And it's really a privilege to have you as part of our family over the last 2 days.
Thank you.
Bye, Jill, and thank you again. Before we close out here, I just want to thank my team at Living Beauty. They are so dedicated and they're so wonderful. I said I wouldn't cry, but anyway, it's been a hard year. But I want to also thank our production team at Event Management, PR Director Jess Way, of course, Block Design, Public Office, Jed Tallow, and Caitlin Agnew, and all the creatives that we work with over the last year. You're so inspiring. All of our brands, thank you for participating over the last 5 years, but really supporting us. supporting us here in Canada. And of course, to our guests today, Mr. De La Palme and Laure from Biologique Recherche. They're just the most amazing company. And thank you so much for believing in us here in Canada and adopting us as part of your global family. It's really a pleasure. And I just want to, leave off by saying that it's probably the most exciting time right now to be part of the beauty industry, no matter what your role is. Probably since Helena Rubinstein opened that first salon, or Annie Turnbow Malone opened her first cosmetology school. So I just want to urge everyone, whether you're a journalist, a brand, an influencer, beauty professional, entrepreneur, just to connect with the public on the most sincere and direct level. Beauty is so important. And that's really what Living Beauty is. And that's what we're doing. That's why we're here today. So thank you for participating. I'm going over my lines here in this Future Beauty Symposium. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in person really, really soon. Bye.